hear me okay? Yeah, today will be a very honestly. Am I there? I'm not audible. I should be audible actually. Yeah. Yeah, this will be a short stream, I think, and yeah, yeah. Let's see some games, right? So, just as yesterday, I mean, as today morning, I just wanted to look at some moments which are interesting. Probably you guys have already seen what is interesting from most of the outlets already. Yeah, Chess Base India, whatever, from the news articles. But yeah, this is an interesting game, I think. But not, I mean, showing Ding is in very bad form. Yeah, F6 was a novelty by Adiban, I think. And yeah, it's hard to explain what Ding did wrong in this game. I mean, why he went wrong in this game, actually. So the most common move is actually long castle. And white plays rook a3, I think. And there are a lot of games in this position. So d6 is a blunder, yeah. D6 is not a blunder, but very hard to explain why Dingleren played this. Yeah, so just some opening loss. Yeah. Okay, let's skip this one. Yeah, this is a very interesting game actually. You know, knight d2, knight e4, knight e2. I mean, what will you play as black in this position? That's an interesting thing. Yeah, probably rook a3 is interesting, but yeah, I don't see any reason for black also to be worse. Maybe it's harder for black to play, and there are a lot of details there, but I think black should be okay in there. Yeah, let's skip that game actually. I mean, I know that he made some mistakes, but let's look at this one. Actually, this is kind of an ignored game probably because it's not so popular and stuff like that. So let's look at this one. There were some interesting moments in this, I think. Yeah. Queen d7, as mentioned, was played in the game. King h2. Now what do you want? So there is a strategy here actually. And I think in the even in the live commentary, people were, I mean, Rustam and Gustafsson were concerned with black's position maybe, but black played extremely well after to equalize in this game. I think even become slightly better. Very deep strategic moves. This will be a short stream, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I'm not sure. I just wanted to have a brief look at these games. Yeah. Now white already played king h2 and it's black to. Yeah. Knight h5 is interesting probably, but you don't really have f5. You cannot take EFI. Will take you cannot take GFI because the knight will be hanging here. Knight h5. Maybe I'll play c3 probably. It's not easy to achieve f5 in this position. That is the whole point. Yeah. Yeah, these are the most difficult moments in chess probably because there is no clear plan, right? So kind of a difficult moment. This is where you go wrong usually, and he has played very well in this position. When you don't know what to do, you should generally play in the center only actually. Okay, so center h5 king h7 bishop h6 is possible, but probably too slow. h5 I'm not sure. I haven't considered it, but I don't really like it. He played extremely well and in the center actually. He played quite interesting chess in the center. Find out how to play in the center actually. Yeah, d5 was the game. So fighting for space in the center. Now knight c3. So again a very deep move actually. Very interesting move from black in this position. c4 I don't think is good. You're losing the d4 pawn probably. Not sure. Yeah, d5 was played and knight c3 was played. Now what will you play? Again, you have to make these simple decisions, right? So it's kind of hard. Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to answer this question in general, what to do, but try to find a plan in the center. It's a very important move, I think, and not a very obvious move played by Leko here. Very interesting game. c4 is being suggested. Again, a decent move, but yeah. Maybe e5, knight d5. Yeah. Maybe I can go knight e4 or something. And there are some ideas, right? Knight d5, dc4. Not clear. c4 is an interesting try, but not very clear to me. He did not play c4 actually. He played something more interesting. Fi is a possibility, and but it's also weakening, because it's not so clear how you will obtain Fi. So in order to play Fi, if you put your pieces into bad positions, that is expensive. B4 is not really the move, I think, because I don't really know if I want something like this also. Even something like this, I'm not sure who this favors because your bishop is bad, so on. B4, this is the line. I'm not going to go back. Eventually, I can play against this bishop, and this bishop is kind of hemmed down by its pawns. Yeah, hi Gautam. Yeah. So very hard to see move actually. He played a very interesting move. And I mean, I guess it's very difficult to guess also. Rook a c8 he plays. Yeah, knight into c2 is also a good move, I think. Probably. We have to calculate these lines, but ed5, knight e3, de6, knight d1, ed7, knight c3, bishop a8. What is the material? I'm an exchange down. So knight c2, I think you have to be concerned with ed5. If you are finding something good for ed5, then yeah. ed5, knight e3, de6, knight d1, ed7. I mean, you're an exchange down here, so I don't know. I think that is what bothered black from playing knight into c2. Otherwise, knight into c2 would be an interesting possibility. Does it knight c2 ed5? Does it work? I don't know actually, but right now it looks like it's working. So I'm arriving at this position, and probably I'm better. Yeah. So yeah. So b4 I've already mentioned. A b4, c b4. I'll play bishop at d4. E d4, knight d5, takes, knight c. I'm left with the knight outpost. This knight is on outpost, right? So that's good for me. I'm not sure what is the assessment of this position, but I like white. Knight c3, Leko played rook a c8, which is a very deep move actually. Because this is the only loose pawn, and he wants to defend it in multiple variations. If white takes knight e4, just keeping this pawn safe actually. Very hard to see, but you can see how it is useful in the game also. Bishop g5. So what do we do now? What do we do? Right? So bishop g5 is a continuation, normal continuation for white. H6 is a bad move. I think H6 he'll take and take on d5, which is losing a piece for you. I don't think this is preparation. This is just some middle game play. I don't think this is preparation. But generally, Leko is better prepared than Swidler. Generally, Leko is extremely well prepared, even more than Swidler. Yeah. But Swidler is practical and makes very good decisions over the board. Yeah, he's threatening to take and play into d5. H6 doesn't work. This is his threat basically. Yeah, you don't like black's board. It looks like white is aggressive, white is controlling the game, but soon black takes over actually. The game ended in a draw, and this game was not probably covered much, but yeah, I was. Knight h5 also allows e into d5, so you don't have a lot of choices here. You have to take them, right? So he's threatening e into d5, and you take the pawn. d4, knight e4, knight e4, d4, f5. So we always want to play f5 in this position, but he has done it more organically, you can say, right? So by, I mean, the plan was to put the knight on e8 on h or h5 and then do it, but now what does he look at? What has happened? He has just removed that knight from the board. Yeah, f5, knight d4. Okay, go. There is no stream tomorrow. I'm not streaming tomorrow, but you'll be informed of the next streams. Yeah, bishop and f6 is a possibility. Yeah, I went through most of the games. I mean, I went through all the games, but I chose the games which will not be discussed by other portals because I'm doing it very late. Just something that is unconventional or interesting. So these are just some positional moments. There were a lot of positional moments in this game. If you take bishop f6, knight e4, I think I can go bishop e7 or even bishop g7. And you can also see how this rook is useful here. That is how this deep. I mean, that's kind of a sense you can say a chess player, a strong player has when, when he plays an idea. Kind of knowing where the pieces belong, right? So that's what the rook belongs on c8, which is slightly unconventional but very strong in this game. So knight e4, d4, f5 was the game, and now knight d5. So what do we do? Right, bishop g7, knight g5 is not really anything for white. I'll just play bishop f5. And if you play g4, then I'll give my bishop. And you have weakened some squares. If you don't play g4, then my next move is h6. And then I'll play. Yeah, the position has to be equal only. I'm not saying black is better or anything, but yeah, maybe black is slightly more better. When do you want to play c3? I don't understand. I don't think there was a possibility of c3. Yeah, d4, knight e4. Knight e4, knight e4, d4, knight, bishop d5. You want to play? We don't know if the pawn is weak or not. ed5. There is a threat here actually. After ed5, this knight is getting trapped. Bishop d5, ed5 was the game actually. So there is a threat right now of trapping this knight. So how to react to that? Yeah, I got it. There's a threat of white playing c3 here. Yeah, so it is black to move, but it's white's. That is white's threat, but it's black to move. b4 is also very weakening, but b4 I'll play maybe not this. I'm not sure. Maybe b4 anyway. I'll play c3 probably, and then I want to take this, but I'm not able to. Okay, this might be interesting, but I don't want to do this. Maybe I can do this. Even something more controlled will be good. Yeah. My idea is to play c3 here and ab4. So it's not so clear. I'm looking at Swidler Leko from yesterday's event. Yeah. So black played c4 actually. So if white plays c3, he has this square, right? And that's kind of an outpost. And yeah, that is working well for. So bishop e3, c3. You can see how the game evolved because of this rook. And yeah, yeah, b4, a4 is also good. I was considering that b4 white could play a4, but black could also play c4. And yeah, d4, bishop e3, f4. I'm not sure how to assess these positions. I like white. I don't think there's an attack yet, and it will take time. But hard to play. C4 is a very normal but good move, I think. Bishop e3, c3. Yeah, it's not like he saw all this when he played rook c8, but it's just a sense of a strong play. So he has the sense where to put the piece, right? So that is what we're looking at. Yeah, but this ended in a draw. b4. Black played f4. This is not about calculation actually. This is only 2-3 moves calculation happened in the game. And yeah. So this is not really calculation. I can't really call this calculation. So equalizer. I mean, if you look at this position, He was slightly better, putting some initiative, but it was not enough to win because of the opposite bishops. Mhm. This game is not really about calculation. This game is about having the sense where having an understanding of where the piece belongs. When he's playing rook a8, probably he's just calculating bishop g4. I think he's calculating probably only till not even f5 thing. You don't even have to calculate f5. Even this is fine, yeah. Just by practice only. Finding such examples from books, you try to solve them. How to calculate many moves deeply, there are a lot of books for that. You can do them and then you be able to solve them. First time you do it, there's no technique for it. So some interesting games in this second round, but some interesting end games, I mean. But yeah, mostly drawish. Okay, there is some doubt about the last portion. Yeah, even if you take both the pawns, you are not going to win this game. So let's say I play this or something, bishop f4. You need to create passed pawn here, otherwise you cannot win this endgame. I just put my bishop here, I don't have any weaknesses. And what black is unable to create a passed pawn, so there's no chance to win this portion. Yeah, I'm sure black would have pressed harder actually. In this position, black is the only one pressing actually. For example, in this position, the initiative is only with black. So, I think what he means to say not that there is any concrete variation. Sometimes you can wait and pose better problems than forcing matters that echoed you. So, I don't think there was any concrete way to play better here. You find good moves in other boards, but not in your board. So this is another nice strategical game, nice strategical win from Anish, I think. Yeah, Queen B4, so H6, right? So, um, if you're not able to concentrate on your board, what do you mean by that? I don't understand. I think you're under a lot of pressure. You're playing with a lot of pressure to win, and that's why you're not able to play when on your own board. If you're able to find good moves on other board and not on your board, you should figure out a way to get better at pressure situations. What inspired me to not play chess? Nothing like that. I was introduced to the game, and yeah, I liked its complexity. So that's why you can say, right? So my first tutor gave me a lot of questions which I was unable to solve, which was very unusual for me. And yeah, so I decided to. I didn't really think about it. I just kept playing. Yeah. Yeah, basically it means that not to simplify the question and So for example, this portion, how to I can answer your portion question with this portion. I mean, why is white better here? I mean, what is there can be only there's only one reason here actually. So it's because of this bishop. It's because of this bishop on d. If this bishop is on e8, probably black is doing much better, right? So this is something you can take strategy. You have to understand and see what is wrong with why they are making their shifts. So basically, you have to get into their thought process. You know how they are making decisions and stuff like that. That's what helps you in general. But it's complex. Strategy and understanding takes a lot of time to achieve in general, I think, and a lot of playing experience is also needed for understanding strategy, all that. Yeah, strategy is one of the hardest. I mean, understanding is one of the hardest things to develop and requires individual study. You cannot learn understanding actually. Yeah, I do know Sridhar. Yeah. So because of this bishop, yeah, Anish is ready to go into this position. Rook k6 he played. Somebody said rook k7 in this position, but rook k6 is interesting. So, I mean, you can see that there's only, you would assume that there's only one weakness, but there are a number of weaknesses actually. The bishop on e8 is a weakness, the pawn on d6 is a weakness, and all that. Which is my favorite Fischer versus Pasky. I don't remember so many actually. Okay, very good. If you're a student, very good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bishop c8 was probably better. I don't know. I don't have the full game right now, but all mistakes have some logical reasoning behind it also. So chess is so complex that even when you make logical moves, you can end up worse. Round one I've covered in the previous stream. I want to stick to this for now, but let's look at this game. Rook a6, knight f6. So this is an instructive movement actually. What do you want to do, right? So what will you do as Anish plays a very nice move here. What will he play as white? Probably a very simple move for him, but yeah, still nice. Still interesting. Yeah, that is what you're thinking, but you have to attack the weaknesses. I don't think Rook a7 was a mistake or anything, but he's going for the weaknesses. His d6 is weak, so he's attacking that. Queen a4 is being lost. Queen a4, if I play bishop b7 and yeah, rook b6 is also an interesting one. Yeah, I think it's interesting for sure. Anish plays kind of a flow improving move, bishop f1, opening up all kinds of possibilities here. But it didn't happen in the game, but at the moment, but yeah, king h7, what to do? There was something wrong with king h7, so Anish exploited that. What does that mean? Knight c4, black has knight e4, right? Or not? I'm pretty sure he has knight e4. Knight b3 is being suggested, which is also a good move. Yeah, knight b3 is also possible, but you can't really take d6 yet, I think. Rook c2, rook d6. Maybe I'll go. Still looks good for white. Hmm. Yeah, maybe it is possible. Knight b3 is possible. He played rook a7, keeping an eye on this pawn. See, basically, what he's doing is that he's attacking all the weaknesses in the position, and now he's won this pawn actually. King g8, what will white do? King g8, what will white do? Yeah, I've talked about that game briefly in the first morning stream. You can look at it later. I've not analyzed too deeply because it was too complex. At least the opening was too complex, but yeah, I've talked about it very briefly. Yeah, anything wins here actually. Even knight c4 maybe. Yeah. Now there are ideas of knight b6 hitting these guys. So interesting, right? So rook a7 actually he gave up the pawn and again tactical idea. So I mean he's very winning very concretely here. Queen c7 is losing on the spot. Yeah. So knight c4, knight e8, knight b6. Yeah. Now bishop d5 is coming. So basically what I yeah even this is kind of an advantage at that level, right? So when I've seen often people refusing to go to these positions saying it's symmetrical or yeah you have to increase your sense of an advantage actually. The stronger player is happy with the smaller advantage, and here you can say that this is actually a big advantage. I think it's not a small advantage, but you should not be confused with the symmetry of the structure or whatever. It's more than that, right? Assessment is more than that. Okay, let's look at one more game and then I just want to do a short stream today. So I'll talk about the opening only in this game actually. So some kind of new idea is rook b1. So if you see on the left here, I don't know if you can see this, but Dubo and Gelfand are working together often, and so this is one of their games, right? So yeah, You can see that Dubo has already played this against Whittler, and Gelfand is just repeating. This is an interesting idea actually. Yeah, I'm just doing this temporarily. So what is the plan for white here? Now it should be okay, but AFL is not visible. Huh? What will you plan? What will be your plan as white here? Most of you would have seen the game, I'm assuming, or if you have not seen the game, then white's plan here is interesting. So even the online games are interesting, online blitz games, right? So yeah, to attack on the king side is right. How are you going to do that? What are your moves? No, basically white doesn't want to play d4 in this portion because if you play d4, he's attacking the center, right? And he has done all kinds of precautions for that. It would be very hard to achieve d4 successfully. So you have to come up with another plan. So you have guys have not seen this game, okay? White comes up with a nice plan here. Bishop c4. Yeah, it's possible, probably. Yeah, d4 is like you don't really want to play d4 actually. I mean, you can play, but d3 is losing the c3 pawn. Otherwise, it would be a decent idea. Yeah, the idea played in the game is actually queen e2, guys. I mean, even if you find these mini plans in games and try to save them somewhere, it will be useful. b6, queen e3. Look at this plan. From d1, the queen is traveling to h4. d4, you're losing a pawn if you play d4. cd4, cd4, knight d4. And all of black's preparations is against d4. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I don't want to show the whole game because it was full of mistakes. But this was a nice plan in this game, and I think it was prepared at home. So even here, bishop b5, rook d6. I think white was just winning after d4 or something. Not sure how. Queen h7, king f8, bishop h6 maybe. There was some wins here, which must have been pointed out by some. I've played. So just for this plan, I've showed this game. This is just a simple short stream guys. I'm not going to go do anything deep today. Yeah. So I'll stop with this actually. Right. So if you want me to talk about something specific, you can message me. You can post it on Discord and I'll look at the game and I'll say what I have to say about it. Yeah. So I need to look at the game slowly to understand it. Yeah, exactly. This is a game of Dubo Schuller from Grand. Okay, I'll end this stream with any questions that you have. Yeah, exactly, Karthik. I mean, the very important point is that the structure is not disturbed. If you have any questions, I'll answer them before. You can ask me anything, and you can post something in Discord, and I'll have a look at it later. I'm not a good bullet player, Gautam, so I'm not going to do that. I mean, if that end game is interesting, I'll just check it out later and tell you. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, you can look at different moments from these games, and I think these have not been covered so much. A lot of useful. Every game has something useful for you. Yeah, thank you, Siddhant, for the link. Okay, guys, I'll wrap up now, and thanks. This was very short, but thanks. Thanks for joining.